Hi everyone. In the last module, we uh, we did a bit of intro into MySQL. So we created databases, we dropped databases, we learned a bit about selecting from existing databases. In this module, we're going to expand our knowledge of SQL into actually creating our own tables and filling them with our own data. So, just as a quick review, um, we'll go ahead and get into MySQL and spin up a quick database. So as a reminder, MySQL-u root will log you in as the root user, and in here we can start doing SQL stuff. And so I'll start by just create database. That'll be a pets database. Awesome. So now we have our database. Of course, it's completely empty. So when you create a database, it's empty. It has nothing in it, and the foundation of your data lies in your tables. So now let's create our own tables. And just like we create our databases, we're going to use the create keyword, table, and then the name of our table. So let's we have a pets database, and so we'll create a pets table which will actually hold the different pets. And so where now we're going to differ is that you can't just create a table. You have to actually define what a table looks like. And so we do that by opening parentheses, and if I hit enter, I can write the next line. And we have to basically define the columns and the types of data each column is. So if we think back to what a database table actually looks like, it's essentially rows and columns, right? So columns are the types of data, and a row is the information. And so when we create a table, we're actually defining what these columns should be and what kind of data they should hold. And so that can be anything you want. In this instance, I'm creating a database of pets, and this pets table will hold different pets. And so I will give the column name of, name. And the data type, there's a lot of different data types in SQL. You can check out the reading for what kind of data type you should do. The most generic of data types, or one of the most generic of data types, is called varchar. That stands for basically a variable length of characters, essentially a string. So you can kind of equate varchar to a PHP or a JavaScript string. In the parentheses, we also tell it what size this data should be. It's a very common size of characters is 255, meaning that I can have a string that's up to 255 characters long. Now, obviously, that's a super long pet name, but it's important to note that you have these the size limitations because you don't want your database to get too crazy or big. And so let's just say that's all I want. You could add, we'll add one more column. So if we want to add one more column, we need to add a comma at the end of our column here. Hit enter, and we can give a one more, let's say age. And for another data type, we're going to use a int. So int for integer, and we'll just say for, meaning that this is the width of the integer, so it can go up to 9,999. Obviously, you'll never have a pet that old. And finally, we can close the parentheses, add our semicolon, and oh, I forgot to use database pets. Oh, sorry, use pets. There we go. And then create table pets, all that stuff. So you can use up arrow to go back. So I didn't lose anything. So now we hit OK, and if we try to select that, we'll see that we get nothing because we've just created our empty table, and that's great. That's all we really need. And you might be thinking, oh, what good does that do, Michael? Well, we know it exists because the query was okay, but we can also, just like we did show databases, we can show tables, and we do have our pets table. And if we wanted to delete that table, we could say drop table pets, and now it's gone. So just like a lot of stuff's going to carry over from creating and dropping databases to creating and dropping tables. The difference being that you're going to want to, for making tables, define what your columns are going to look like, what kind of data they should have in them, and that's essentially it. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.